This is D Money from Juice Radio right here. I'm here with Geologic of Blue Scholars and the bar. Can't forget about the bar. Man, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing really good, bro.
Yeah, we just basically you just came from a talk about hipsters. Basically, would you consider yourself a hipster?
See, if I were to answer that question with a yes or a no, it would both be the wrong answer, man. So I'm gonna actually leave it up to y'all, man. I'll say what I said in the talk, man. All my thug friends think I'm a hipster. All my hipster friends think I'm a thug. I'm gonna leave it at that.
What would you say about your fans though, like Blue Scholar fans? You know, you have the iconic Blue Scholar fan.
You know what? We've been doing this long enough. I'm on some old man shit, man, where when I step out on stage and look into the crowd, it looks completely different than it did the year before. And they get younger and younger each year too. Yeah. So it's always defined, like it's being redefined as we keep doing the music, just like ourselves too, which is the dope thing, because I like to think we're doing the same things with our music. We're like redefining ourselves. Yeah. And so I look out into the audience and I see like half of the crowd is like familiar. I'm like, oh, I see you. You know, yeah. the true school hip hop head, right. The labor organizer, the parents chaperoning their kids. Yeah. But then the other half of the crowd was like, whoa, what? Yeah, I look like a new kind of crowd. And so yeah, it's one of those things where like I don't try to think about it too much. I'm just grateful that there's people just even in the crowd to begin with.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out is what I think is really dope, though, was the Kickstarter program for Cinematropolis. That was hugely successful. What are some tips to people that are trying to think about using Kickstarter? How best use? I've seen a couple people have failed projects through Kickstarter, but how's best to really be successful?
Man, I don't know how you can fail a Kickstarter project, man. You got to set, first of all, set your goals like realistically. Yeah. And second, you shouldn't fail, because if you're even like at the halfway point, just get the homie to like buy the rest of the shit so you can get the money that you already made. You don't want to like, okay, $20,000 goal, and like you make 10,000 of it, and on the last day you're like, oh, we're just gonna let that 10K go. No, it's all good, man. We're living in the thirst era where everything goes, man. People are buying Twitter followers, YouTube views, man. Fuck it, man. Get the homie to drop 10K so you could get that other 10K. Now, but seriously, I think a lot of what makes a successful Kickstarter campaign has a lot to do with what makes just a successful indie grassroots career, period. Yeah. Which is, networking, building relationships, connecting, making something, making a product or a theme or a movement or something that people can relate to. They look at it and they're like, I fuck with that, because it's unique, because it's something they relate to, whatever the case may be.
And speaking of the album from that Cinematropolis, basically what I get from it is every single track, it's like its own movie or something. Is that basically what you guys were going for? More
or less, yeah. We the entire theme is cinema, or just the moving image, and so each song kind of represented a facet of that, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to build this whole. There's going to be like a bunch of short films, videos, and whatnot that came from there. I believe we're like probably not even halfway through our goal in fulfilling that. But the ones that we don't end up touching, we want it to stand alone, where like it makes you feel like you can see what we're trying to portray when you listen to the music.
Yeah, and I know we've seen at least 3 videos from the project. Are there more coming, or are you starting to think about next album?
We're sitting on a couple right now, okay. And there's a few treatments out there that are sitting with some directors. Who knows whether or not it's gonna come out in a timely manner, but it will come out.
Okay, dope. Well, meanwhile, all this shit's going on. All of a sudden, you seem to do the bar project with Bambu. Just how did that just come in out of the blue, basically?
Exactly, that's how you described it, man. I mean, we've known each other for a long time now, the better part of 10 years. almost kind of grew up in this rap thing together, man. When we met, like, neither of us had really gone on tours. We were kind of new to this making your own music and pushing it sort of thing. And we crossed paths a lot. We've toured together, toured apart, and shared stories. We've opened up for, he's opened up for us. We've opened up for him. And we've always talked about making our own like, I've featured on his records, right, and vice versa. So we've already built a musical relationship, but we never had like an actual like project that to call just me and him. So when the opportunity came in Hawaii, when we both got booked by the University of Hawaii to do workshops and also do our own solo stuff out there 2 years ago, and it's Hawaii too, so it's perfect. So it's like, right, once we're out there, we're like, yo, no rush to get back home. No rush for him to get back to LA. Exactly. No rush for me to get back to Seattle. We spent like 4 straight days in the studio, man. Like we literally walked into a bar and decided to do this album. Okay.
Is there a future for the bar?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. I'm like, because of conflicting schedules and touring schedules and everything, somehow, some way, I found myself working on a Blue Scholars EP, a bar EP, and my own music, which is going to be released on Beat Rock Music as well, along with the bar stuff. So it's kind of like a race. Like, whichever gets done first is going to come out first. But I'd say the bar stuff we're further along with, because Bambu was just up here when we did the Physics album release. And in the 2 or 3 days he was here, we actually knocked out a few songs. So, yeah, you might see something from the bar by the end of the year, if not early next year.
So you're saying you're actually going solo as well? I know I've seen some features from you, like on Grinch's album or whatever. I mean, are you really going to put out like a solo effort too?
Yes, definitely. But I wouldn't call it going solo. I would say experimenting with a musical project that is mostly solely just me. Yeah. And then I'll probably go back to working and collaborating with Saba, with Bambu, maybe with someone else. Because I actually feel most fulfilled in collaborative projects, but I feel like I need to get one where it's just me or mostly me out the way. And also it'll still be collaborative, but in a different way.
Okay. I want to get back to touring though. During your worldwide tour for the Blue Scholars, that was exactly during the Occupy movement. I mean, what did you really feel from the Occupy movement?
Everything, the full spectrum of emotions, man. Like, I saw good shit, bad shit. I was inspired. I was deflated. But at the end of the day, it was a moment. I think when I look back, it'll definitely be historic as a tipping point, or like, you know, a critical mass of people from different sectors of society kind of put aside their differences and was like, you know what? The economy is fucked, and it's fucked because people fucked it, and we're not going to take it no more. We're at least going to be heard. And I know, like, if you look in the mainstream media, they try to portray everybody who was an occupier as like is mostly a bunch of, you know, hippie, homeless, left-wingers, radicals and shit. But nah, you went up in there, man. There was actually some like former Tea Party members up in that motherfucker, man. There was like, you know, 60-year-old white dudes and 14-year-old people of color. It was crazy. It was dope.
Can you recall like one image or one story from your travels?
Yeah, I would say the very last day of the tour, we played New York City, Bowery Ballroom, and then the next day, Bambu and I walking around Zuccotti Park. It was very lively and thriving. Just the day before, or like the whole week leading up to it, people was showing up, various celebrity types and whatnot. A lot of attention being paid to that particular, you know, just off of Wall Street in New York. And then the next day, or that same night, excuse me, that we had visited.
Hard.
Yeah, that same night that we visited, it got raided like around, I'd say around midnight or so, and by the next morning, it was completely cleared out. So yeah, I always have that lasting memory of like that last night of the tour and being there, being in New York, seeing everything go down, and then by the time I got back on the plane to come home, they had shut that down. But then like a week later, that's when you maybe Occupy as a movement wasn't so centralized, but it like kind of started spreading out, or at least the idea of, to where it's not just like setting up tents in the middle of an urban area. People are like occupying homes and occupying schools that are about to get shut down. And now it no longer became just like, yo, let's chill in the park. Let's actually for real like take this into real life settings. So yeah, it's dope to see.
Yeah, definitely. One more thing I want to get to, definitely. It's kind of like the Blue Scholars basically blew up and they put on for Seattle, but it seems like afterward, and then there was a huge explosion of a bunch of other artists basically following your lane, but also doing their own thing. It's like a whole revival, basically. Who are some of the names in the town that you're really saying, like, wow, we're really doing shit out here?
Man, I mean, I don't even have to say it. There's people out there whose names you already know, and what's the cool thing is a lot of them was the homies even before like Blue Scholars started getting its name out there, such as first and foremost, now you know, homie Macklemore. We share a studio with the Physics, and you know we've gotten a chance to actually bring them out on tour now too. Grinch, obviously. These are people that we met through the music, but before things really like start taking off. So now that everybody's like finding their own lane, man, it's a cool thing. I feel like one person's success indirectly helps out the others. You know what I'm saying? At this point in the game, there was one point in the game where like, you know, Blue Scholars got on tour and we would be hipping people to Macklemore. Now he's going out on tour and people are finding out about Blue Scholars through him. And there's people who are finding about the Physics through us. And as they continue to grow, there will definitely be more and more people, and they're already out there, but more and more as they do their thing, that will find out about the bar through the Physics.
Right,
you know, so it's one of those things where, like, you know, in a cutthroat industry, it's not like we're repping as a crew and like naming ourselves like we're a big crew, but we kind of all find our own lanes, knowing that like the better we do in our own lane, the more positively it'll affect the people around us.
Yeah, I remember basically earlier this year we were able to put on the Freshest in the Northwest list, and I think it was a real testament that we could put up, at least there were even more than 10 names that deserved to be there, and that it's a huge revival in the town. And a lot of people argued that it's like an exclusive club to be popular in Seattle. And I mean,
for many years. Hold on, the homie's asking to get a drink real quick.
Gotta get that drink. Yeah. No.
Oh man. So it's funny. This is the first time I've actually spoken on this. Because the whole time it was going on, I was like, man, miss me with that. It's like it happened. I don't think it's just like just like we were talking about with the whole hipster thing, whatever. I really have no opinion on whether it's good or bad, but the fact that it exists is a testament to how much shit has grown out here, man. And so, yeah, I for those that got on the list, you know, big congratulations. Right. For those that didn't, you know, work that much harder if you're trying to get on that list. But I think for the most part, I think people are more concerned with making music that's tight to them than getting recognized. And I think that's why things are starting to push further along. I think there was a point in time where there was a lot of dream chasing. Like I'm gonna make some shit that's gonna be a hit, or I'm gonna make some shit that's gonna put the city on the map, or I'm gonna, you know, like thinking too big picture first before just thinking about like your immediate surroundings. And I think something like this, and to call it Northwest, reminds people that like, you know what, you can like have your sights out there, but you better like get your name out around here first before any of that.
Yeah, to quote the homie Grinch, it's all about perspective, man. But what's funny, though, is that you're saying that it used to be like that, people doing dreams about big and I'm going to put the town on. It's still going on every damn day.
Yeah, it still is, but I think there's at least people out there that are giving value and voice to just being you out here and not so much like chasing something unrealistic, but just being realistic. Like, yo, this is who we are. We are out here in the Northwest doing it. And just to be able to say Northwest without like a little bit of shame. That's you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was maybe like 10 years ago, man. Nobody was like screaming out like, yo, I'm from the Northwest. Right. Like really proud with their chest and shit. I'm from the Northwest. Yeah. And I might not agree with this person, or I might not necessarily bump this person's music, but if they're out hollering Northwest, then you know what, we see the same things.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you doing this interview, man. It's been a really good interview. I mean, I'm a real fan of you, man. So appreciate it. Keep doing your thing. This is D Money from Juice Radio. Peace out.
Screws.